In a scene that could rival the dramatic tension of any blockbuster thriller, Blake Lively took to the witness stand this week in a Manhattan courtroom, her voice trembling as she recounted allegations that have sent shockwaves through Hollywood. The actress, known for her poised demeanor and magnetic screen presence, appeared visibly shaken as she detailed what she described as a harrowing encounter with co-star Justin Baldoni during the production of It Ends With Us. According to Lively, the incident unfolded in the penthouse she shares with husband Ryan Reynolds in New York City, where Baldoni allegedly summoned her under the guise of discussing script revisions. What was supposed to be a professional meeting, she claims, devolved into an atmosphere fraught with discomfort and coercion, culminating in behavior she has since characterized as sexual harassment. The gravity of Lively's testimony lies not only in its content, but also in the stark contrast it presents to her public persona. For years, the Gossip Girl star has cultivated an image of grace and resilience, navigating the complexities of fame with apparent ease. Yet, as she spoke through tears, pausing frequently to compose herself, the cracks in that carefully constructed facade became painfully visible. Her words painted a picture of vulnerability rarely seen from someone so accustomed to commanding attention on red carpets and magazine covers. This revelation has ignited a firestorm of speculation and debate, with fans and critics alike grappling to reconcile the beloved actress with the woman now at the center of one of Hollywood's most explosive legal battles. Adding another layer of intrigue is the counter-lawsuit filed by Baldoni, who accuses Lively and her team of orchestrating a smear campaign designed to tarnish his reputation. His attorneys argue that the allegations are baseless and retaliatory, further muddying the waters of an already convoluted narrative. As both parties prepare to present their cases, the stakes couldn't be higher, not just for Lively and Baldoni, but for an industry still reckoning with its history of misconduct and abuse of power. If proven true, Lively's claims could serve as a watershed moment, empowering others to come forward while casting a harsh light on systemic issues within the entertainment world. Conversely, if her account falters under scrutiny, the fallout could irreparably damage her credibility and career. Either way, the outcome promises to reshape perceptions of two prominent figures, and perhaps Hollywood itself. To fully grasp the magnitude of Blake Lively's recent revelations, one must first understand the trajectory of her storied career and the circumstances surrounding her collaboration with Justin Baldoni. Rising to prominence as Serena van der Woodsen in Gossip Girl, Lively quickly established herself as a versatile actress capable of balancing charm with depth. Over the years, she transitioned seamlessly between genres, starring in critically acclaimed films like A Simple Favor and The Shallows, while cultivating a reputation for professionalism and discretion. Off-screen, her marriage to Ryan Reynolds and their shared commitment to philanthropy cemented her status as a paragon of modern celebrity life. It was against this backdrop of success and stability that Lively agreed to take on the lead role in It Ends With Us, an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, a decision that would ultimately thrust her into uncharted territory. The project, helmed by Baldoni, marked his directorial debut following his breakout performance in 5 Feet Apart. Known for his advocacy work and introspective social media presence, Baldoni positioned himself as a champion of authenticity and emotional storytelling. However, insiders close to the production have since suggested that tensions simmered beneath the surface long before cameras began rolling. Sources familiar with the set describe a strained dynamic between Lively and Baldoni, citing creative differences over the portrayal of her character, Lily Bloom. While Lively reportedly sought to bring nuance and restraint to the role, Baldoni allegedly pushed for a more overtly vulnerable interpretation, leading to clashes during rehearsals. These disagreements, though initially framed as artistic friction, laid the groundwork for what would later escalate into far graver accusations. According to Lively's account, the pivotal incident occurred during a private meeting at her Manhattan penthouse, a location chosen ostensibly for convenience, but which she now describes as isolating and intimidating. She alleges that Baldoni used the pretext of discussing script changes to broach inappropriate topics, making comments about her personal life and physical appearance that left her feeling objectified and disrespected. When she attempted to redirect the conversation back to professional matters, she claims he grew increasingly aggressive, culminating in behavior she interpreted as sexual harassment. Though specific details remain undisclosed pending further legal proceedings, the implications are clear. What began as a routine collaboration spiraled into an ordeal that has irrevocably altered both their careers. For Baldoni, The allegations represent not only a threat to his burgeoning directorial ambitions, but also a direct challenge to the progressive image he has worked tirelessly to cultivate. In response, he has vehemently denied all wrongdoing, framing the lawsuit as a calculated attempt to undermine his integrity. His counterclaim accuses Lively and her legal team of fabricating the narrative to deflect attention from unrelated disputes, though he has yet to provide concrete evidence supporting this assertion. Regardless of the eventual verdict, the genesis of these allegations underscores the fragile nature of trust in creative partnerships and serves as a sobering reminder of the power dynamics often at play behind the scenes of even the most celebrated projects. As the case unfolds, it raises critical questions about accountability and transparency in an industry where ambition and ego frequently collide. Whether viewed as a cautionary tale or a catalyst for change, the genesis of this scandal offers a rare glimpse into the complexities of navigating fame, artistry, and interpersonal relationships in Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight. As the courtroom drama intensifies, the intricacies of the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni reveal themselves in layers, each move meticulously calculated and steeped in strategy. At the heart of this legal chess game is Lively's claim of sexual harassment, supported by a series of text messages and emails purportedly exchanged between her and Baldoni. These communications, presented as key evidence, depict a pattern of behavior that Lively's attorneys argue crosses professional boundaries. One such message, highlighted during proceedings, shows Baldoni allegedly pressuring Lively to meet privately under the pretense of discussing script adjustments, an invitation she felt compelled to accept, given the hierarchical dynamics of their working relationship. Her legal team contends that these interactions were not isolated incidents, but part of a broader campaign to exert control and diminish her autonomy. On the opposing side, Baldoni's defense hinges on discrediting Lively's narrative while simultaneously painting her actions as retaliatory. Central to their argument is the assertion that Lively's allegations emerged only after she expressed dissatisfaction with certain creative decisions made during filming. They point to internal memos and witness testimonies suggesting that Lively had grown increasingly frustrated with Baldoni's direction, particularly regarding her character's emotional arc. According to Baldoni's lawyers, this dissatisfaction morphed into a vendetta when Lively allegedly conspired with her representatives to orchestrate a defamation campaign aimed at sabotaging his reputation. To bolster this claim, they've introduced affidavits from crew members who attest to overhearing heated exchanges between the two stars, framing them as indicative of mutual animosity rather than unilateral misconduct. Adding another dimension to the legal maneuvering is the role of third-party entities implicated in the dispute. Both parties have subpoenaed records from the production company behind It Ends With Us, seeking documentation that could corroborate their respective versions of events. Emails obtained through discovery suggest that executives were aware of mounting tensions on set, but failed to intervene decisively, a fact Lively's team argues demonstrates institutional negligence. Meanwhile, Baldoni's counsel has seized upon discrepancies in Lively's timeline of events, questioning why she waited weeks before reporting the alleged harassment to authorities. This delay, they contend, undermines the credibility of her account and hints at ulterior motives. Perhaps the most contentious aspect of the trial revolves around the admissibility of expert testimony. Lively's attorneys have enlisted psychologists specializing in trauma and workplace dynamics to contextualize her experience, arguing that victims of harassment often struggle to process and report incidents immediately due to fear of retaliation or disbelief. Conversely, Baldoni's team has recruited media analysts to scrutinize Lively's public statements and social media activity, alleging that inconsistencies betray a lack of genuineness. These dueling narratives underscore the high-stakes nature of the proceedings, where every piece of evidence carries the potential to tip the scales decisively in favor of one party or the other. Amidst the flurry of motions and counter-motions, the presiding judge has issued stern warnings to both sides regarding inflammatory rhetoric outside the courtroom. In a recent hearing, the judge admonished attorneys for engaging in what she described as public posturing, emphasizing the need to maintain decorum lest the case devolve into a spectacle. Despite this directive, leaks and strategic disclosures continue to filter into the press, fueling rampant speculation among observers eager to dissect every development. For now, the legal strategies employed by both camps reflect a delicate balance between leveraging hard evidence and shaping public perception, a dance that will ultimately determine whether justice prevails or reputations crumble in the glare of Hollywood's relentless spotlight. The courtroom revelations involving Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have ignited a firestorm of reactions across social media platforms, with fans and industry insiders alike weighing in passionately on the unfolding scandal. On Twitter, hashtags like #BelieveBlake and #Justice for Justin have trended globally, reflecting the polarized sentiments gripping Hollywood's audience. Supporters of Lively have rallied around her, praising her courage for speaking out and highlighting her contributions to raising awareness about workplace harassment. Many fans have taken to Instagram to share heartfelt messages of solidarity, using images from her films alongside captions, urging others to believe survivors. Meanwhile, Baldoni's defenders argue that the allegations are politically motivated, pointing to his advocacy work and prior endorsements from organizations focused on gender equality as proof of his character. Industry reactions have been equally charged, with several high-profile figures breaking their silence to comment on the situation. Reese Witherspoon, a vocal advocate for women in entertainment, tweeted a cryptic message reading, "Truth always finds its way," which many interpreted as tacit support for Lively. Conversely, actor Armie Hammer, who has faced his own controversies, posted a statement suggesting that celebrity culture thrives on tearing people down. Such divergent responses underscore the deep fissures within Hollywood itself, where alliances and rivalries often dictate public stances. Producers and studio executives, wary of being drawn into the fray, have largely refrained from commenting directly, but are reportedly monitoring the case closely due to its potential impact on future collaborations. Beyond individual opinions, the scandal has sparked broader discussions about systemic issues plaguing the entertainment industry. Journalists covering the trial have noted a surge in articles exploring themes of power imbalance, consent, and accountability, with some outlets dedicating entire segments to dissecting the cultural implications of the case. Publications like Variety and The Hollywood Reporter have published op-eds calling for stricter oversight on sets, advocating for independent mediators to handle disputes and ensure safe working environments. Meanwhile, grassroots movements spearheaded by lesser-known actors and crew members have gained traction online, demanding reforms that address long-standing grievances about exploitation and abuse. The ripple effects extend beyond discourse, manifesting in tangible ways throughout the industry. Production companies linked to It Ends With Us have seen a dip in investor confidence, prompting emergency meetings to assess risk management strategies. Casting directors report an uptick in inquiries from talent agents seeking assurances about safety protocols before committing to new projects. Even streaming services like Netflix and Hulu have begun revisiting contracts to include clauses protecting performers from similar situations, signaling a shift toward prioritizing ethical considerations over profit margins. Yet, amidst these developments, skepticism persists. Critics argue that the intense focus on Lively and Baldoni risks overshadowing the root causes of such conflicts, namely, entrenched hierarchies and unchecked privilege. Some commentators warn against reducing complex issues to binary narratives of victim versus perpetrator, urging instead for nuanced conversations that acknowledge gray areas and foster genuine change. As the case continues to dominate headlines, it remains clear that the ramifications will resonate far beyond the individuals involved, forcing Hollywood to confront uncomfortable truths about its own complicity in perpetuating cycles of harm. As the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni barrels toward its climax, the entertainment industry braces for outcomes that could reverberate far beyond the confines of the courtroom. If Lively's allegations hold up under scrutiny, the verdict could herald a seismic shift in how Hollywood addresses workplace misconduct. Should the court rule in her favor, it might embolden other actors, crew members, and creatives to step forward with their own stories of harassment or abuse, knowing they have a precedent to lean on. This wave of disclosures could force studios and production houses to adopt stricter policies, ranging from mandatory sensitivity training to the implementation of anonymous reporting systems, designed to safeguard employees and mitigate risks. Moreover, successful litigation may prompt regulatory bodies to impose fines or sanctions on violators, creating a financial deterrent against exploitative behavior. For Lively personally, vindication could solidify her status as a trailblazer for accountability, elevating her platform as an advocate for systemic reform. Conversely, should Baldoni prevail, the implications could prove equally transformative. but in a markedly different direction. A ruling dismissing Lively's claims might embolden skeptics who view high-profile accusations as opportunistic attempts to manipulate public opinion. In such a scenario, Baldoni's victory could galvanize those resistant to the Me Too movement, framing it as overly punitive or prone to false positives. For him, exoneration would likely restore much of his professional standing, allowing him to resume his directorial aspirations without the shadow of scandal looming overhead. However, the optics of triumphing over a globally recognized figure like Lively might also paint him as divisive, potentially alienating collaborators wary of associating with controversy. Beyond individual careers, the outcome of this case threatens to recalibrate the delicate equilibrium of power within Hollywood's ecosystem. A win for Lively could accelerate ongoing efforts to dismantle patriarchal structures that enable misconduct, encouraging marginalized voices to demand equitable treatment. It might also inspire legislative action, with lawmakers introducing bills aimed at holding perpetrators accountable across industries. Conversely, a loss for Lively risks reinforcing existing hierarchies, discouraging victims from speaking out due to fears of retaliation or disbelief. Either way, the ripple effects promise to shape not only the trajectories of those directly involved, but also the cultural zeitgeist surrounding fame, ethics, and justice. Adding complexity to these possibilities is the specter of collateral damage. Regardless of the verdict, both Lively and Baldoni face reputational risks that could linger indefinitely. For Lively, an unfavorable ruling might cast doubt on her credibility, undermining her ability to command leading roles or secure lucrative endorsements. Similarly, Baldoni's association with scandal, even if exonerated, could taint his brand as a progressive filmmaker, complicating his efforts to attract funding or talent for future projects. Furthermore, the case's resolution may influence public perception of celebrity activism. Audiences might grow more discerning about aligning themselves with stars whose values appear inconsistent with their actions. Ultimately, the stakes extend beyond careers and reputations, touching on fundamental questions about morality and accountability in an era defined by heightened awareness of inequality. Will this saga serve as a catalyst for meaningful change, or will it devolve into yet another chapter in Hollywood's long history of unresolved tensions? As the world awaits answers, one thing remains certain. Whatever transpires next will leave an indelible mark on the industry, and perhaps society at large. As the gavel falls on the courtroom drama pitting Blake Lively against Justin Baldoni, the verdict looms as a defining moment, not just for the two central figures, but for the broader cultural landscape they inhabit. If Lively emerges victorious, her triumph could transcend the immediate legal context, serving as a landmark case that reshapes how Hollywood confronts workplace misconduct. It might ignite a cascade of reforms, compelling studios to adopt zero-tolerance policies and fostering an environment where survivors feel empowered to speak without fear of retribution. For Lively herself, this outcome could elevate her legacy from celebrated actress to cultural icon, positioning her as a beacon of resilience and advocacy in an industry still grappling with its darker corners. Yet, even in victory, questions would linger. Will this newfound accountability extend beyond high-profile cases to protect those without star power? Or will it remain a fleeting corrective measure, confined to moments of intense public scrutiny? Should Baldoni prevail, however, the repercussions could be equally profound, if less optimistic. A ruling in his favor might embolden detractors of the Me Too movement, framing it as overly zealous or prone to misuse. Such an outcome risks chilling the momentum built over recent years, dissuading potential whistleblowers from stepping forward and reinforcing the very power imbalances the movement sought to dismantle. For Baldoni, exoneration would undoubtedly salvage his reputation, enabling him to pursue his directorial ambitions unencumbered by scandal. But the cost of clearing his name could prove steep, as lingering skepticism might taint his accomplishments and alienate allies unwilling to associate with controversy. Regardless of the verdict, the enduring lesson of this saga lies in its capacity to expose the vulnerabilities inherent in creative industries. Whether viewed as a cautionary tale or a clarion call for reform, the case underscores the urgent need for systemic safeguards that prioritize dignity and equity over hierarchy and profit. It challenges us to reflect on the double-edged nature of fame, a force capable of amplifying voices for good while simultaneously magnifying the consequences of missteps. and it reminds us that justice, when pursued in the public eye, is rarely black and white. It exists in shades of grey, shaped by perception, power, and the collective conscience of society. Looking ahead, the legacy of this trial will hinge not solely on its judicial resolution, but on how its lessons are internalized and acted upon. Will Hollywood seize this opportunity to reimagine itself as a space where creativity flourishes free from exploitation? Or will it retreat into familiar patterns, treating this episode as an anomaly rather than a symptom of deeper dysfunction? As the curtain falls on this chapter, one truth remains undeniable. The story of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is far more than a clash of egos. It is a mirror reflecting the hopes, fears, and contradictions of an industry at a crossroads. Whatever comes next, the world will be watching.